Hello and welcome to Arts24's weekly music show on France 24. Today I have the pleasure of being joined in the studio by an American multi-instrumentalist. Cello, tenor, banjo, guitar, and multilingual singer-songwriter Leyla McCalla counts Barack Obama as a fan. Her music vibrates from 3 centuries of history and influences from around the globe. Her new album is no different, blending sounds from the diaspora, including Afrobeat, Ethiopian modalities, Brazilian tropicalism, folk, and American blues. She's on tour and has dropped in to see us in the studio. Leyla McCalla, hello, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Now, you're about to play at Paris's Maroquinerie venue. Now, that's a personal favourite of mine, and I know that you have the same kind of feelings towards it as well.
Yeah.
And I also believe that's somewhere that helped you with your French. Is that right?
Yeah. I mentioned that in my video. I played there years ago when I was touring with the Carolina Chocolate Drops. And I think that was the first time that I was like really starting to talk to people. I think it was a little glass of red wine, like really gets the conversation going.
It always helps. A good confidence drink.
Yes.
So now you're ready to talk to people in the crowd. Like when you tour around France, do you feel more confident to?
Yeah, no, my French has really come a long way the past 10 plus years of touring in France. And, you know, ever since I released my first record, France has been a very kind landing place for my music. And, you know, I think there's a lot of history that I talk about that's related to France and, you know, cultural and social conversation that is applicable here. And then, of course, my family's from Haiti. I sing in Haitian Creole. And so there's a historical connection. There's a huge Haitian diaspora here in Paris. And yeah, it's amazing when you're immersed and you have to survive.
You're forced to, yeah.
A language kind of comes through you.
Now, you're actually on tour with your 5th solo album that came out this spring called Sun Without the Heat. And now that title is a reference to a Frederick Douglass speech from 1857 that was done in front of a largely white crowd of abolitionists. And this was about 6 years before the Emancipation Proclamation. Why this choice of reference for the album?
I think that when I was, you know, I do a lot of research for all of my records and I read a lot. And I was reading a book written by a woman named Susan Raffo called Liberated to the Bone. And in it, she talks a lot about, you know, the kind of original wounds of American society and Western civilization in general. And, you know, she talks about the genocide of indigenous people, the enslavement of Africans, the transatlantic slave trade. And, you know, I just think that there's kind of this misconception that like, oh, that was then, it was normal to have slaves then. Like it was never normal to enslave people and build an empire on it. It was always wrong. And people knew that in 1857. But what I think is so interesting about that quote in particular, I mean, I read it in the book and it immediately struck me as lyrics to a song. And it was a song that I felt like I had to write.
You said that you wanted to make an album that was kind of full of grief, but also joy. And despite releasing this album back in spring, as I mentioned, it really kind of seems to reflect this current mood that we're in, or that the mood that in the United States, especially a week on from the presidential elections. And even in Kamala Harris's concession speech, she said that only when it's dark enough, you can see the stars. I'm wondering, do you personally see the stars?
That's a good question. I think if you squint really hard, stars appear. You know, I feel like there is a lot to be hopeful about. You know, I know that a lot of people are feeling a lot of despair about the election. I feel despair that we are not more engaged with each other and with what's happening in our society and in our world in general. A presidential election is, it's a consequential moment, but it's also really a reflection of what we haven't been doing, what we haven't been tending to. I feel that there was a lost opportunity at the Democratic National Convention to silence Palestinian voices. There are consequences to only telling some parts of the truth. And sadly, much of the American public is totally fine with that.
Yeah, well, let's turn to some joy now, to have a little change.
Sorry.
No, but it's
sorry,
important
I forgot
conversation.
We were looking for the stars.
But it's, you have to find the stars in darkness, as we were saying. Exactly. Now, one of the tracks off your album that best represents this kind of search for joy is Scale to Survive. We'll take a quick listen.
Thank you for laughing me into this portal. What you learned drowning taught me how to breathe. One ear to the earth, one ear to the sky. Reminds me that life is not a straight line.
So that was a very beautiful Scale to Survive from Leyla McCalla's latest album, Sun Without the Heat. Now, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, you were born in New York to Haitian parents, and they emigrated to the US in the 60s, escaping the Duvalier dictatorship. And Haiti is often at the heart of your work, including your critically acclaimed album, Breaking the Thermometer, where you really kind of shone a spotlight on the brave work of journalists at Radio Haiti, who really risked their lives just doing their job. Why did you want to spotlight their work?
I think that in general, I'm drawn to stories that feel like they need to be told, that people might not be aware of, especially Haitians of my generation who are living in the diaspora and looking for a connection to Haiti. I think there's so much to learn from the experience and the work of these journalists in the 80s and 90s when we were, being born and little kids. And so for me, that sort of reaching back to understand the present moment is just a recurring theme. It's a big part of my creative practice. But I think particularly with Haiti, a country that has been so traditionally maligned, misunderstood, ostracized, isolated, and sort of denied its sovereignty. Haiti paid billions of dollars in reparations to the French government. These are things that are all interconnected, and I feel journalists, who are people who are committed to telling the truth, need to be spotlighted, at all times.
Now, going back to the US elections, this is actually the first Arts24 music show since the results came in. Now, lots of artists on the campaign trail really took to supporting Kamala Harris, like Beyonce and Taylor Swift. And in the aftermath of the election results, we saw an outpouring of reaction from the likes of Billie Eilish, as well as Ariana Grande. I'm interested to know your opinion on what role artists should play. Should they speak out? Should they take action?
I think they should, lead with integrity. If they feel drawn to taking action, then I think that they should. If they feel that strongly about something, absolutely. I think it's an individual thing. I think what I love about being able to make a life in music and make a life in art is getting to process these moments on an emotional level. And I think artists really connect us with our humanity. And so, I applaud those women for speaking their truth.
Now, you're actually a founding member of Our Native Daughters with Rhiannon Giddens, Amethyst, Kia, and Alison Russell. Now, this group has long been exploring the Black legacies of country music and Americana. This was long before Beyonce released Cowboy Carter. Now, she met quite a lot of resistance releasing this record, especially from the country music sector. What did you make of all this backlash?
Racism. I mean, I think it's pretty simple, you know? I think it's pretty simple racism. I think it's pretty, you know, Beyonce's record is undoubtedly a country record, but, and actually she kind of speaks to that. Like she wanted to make a record to break through that glass ceiling, and to claim what she felt was denied to her. And I think the backlash to it has been so interesting because it just shows that Black women are still being policed, you know, in the cultural zeitgeist. Like, you know, Beyonce has every right to make a country record.
Yeah.
And
well, she's actually having the last laugh because her album, Cowboy Carter, has 11 Grammy nominations and is now the most nominated artist in Grammy history. Now, we're going to quickly move on to some other music releases of the week, and American rock band Linkin Park are back 7 years after the suicide of frontman Chester Bennington. They've dropped their 8th studio album, From Zero, as well as announcing a new lineup. Emily Armstrong has replaced Chester Bennington as lead singer, but has had quite a lot of criticism due to her alleged ties to the Church of Scientology and her past support of convicted rapist Danny Masterson. Now, Armstrong later released a statement distancing herself from the actor. The band have been on tour. Let's listen to one of the tracks of the album, Mrs. Over Each Other.
I'm so tired of talking over each other. Say what's underneath. I wanna see your side. We don't have to be talking over each other. Over each other. Over each other. Over each other.
Okay, that's some new Linkin Park. Now we've come to the end of the show, and I thank our guest Leyla McCalla for coming into the studio. Good luck with the rest of your tour.
thank you.
Now we're going to end with another music release from rapper and singer 070 Shake called Petrator. Now we'll leave you with the video for Winter Baby New Jersey Blues featuring her girlfriend, Franco-American actress Lily Rose Depp. Now for more arts and culture, you can head to our website. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Jersey blues, my baby gets me through. Cherry syrup medicine cures nightmares too. Toxic fumes, processed foods. I pay my dues, I did my time. Now I'm